Hi guys, good afternoon and welcome back once again to the EdWord, where I will be giving you a different kind of video today. This is, I guess, my very first, I don't know if it's called a video essay or movie essay, but I've seen a couple of these on YouTube and I thought I would do one because I recently saw a movie several months ago that really struck a chord with me, and I thought, yes, that's it. That's exactly how I feel about that. Welcome to my video essay on the horror movie Malignant. This is the horror film directed by James Wan that dropped last September in theaters and on HBO Max the same day. I thought it was great. It was a wonderful, unexpected gem of a horror movie. And it really struck a chord with me personally because it really embodied something how I very, very strongly feel about it. Now, before I begin, a couple things. I'm going to be discussing this movie in detail, so spoilers abound. If you haven't seen Malignant and you want to, don't keep watching or listening to this video because I'm going to be discussing spoilers. B, there's going to contain strong language because I'm probably going to get semi-riled up talking about what I'm going to be talking about. So fair warning, I might be dropping a few F-bombs and other bad words here and there. So just fair warning in case you've got a problem with that. And one more thing. Later on in the video, there are going to be some images or stills from the movie Malignant, showcasing mostly the grotesque, nasty-ass villain character called Gabriel, who's the bad guy in the film. And I'm going to have a couple of photos of him, and he's a really nasty piece of work, and his appearance you might find disturbing and unsettling, so just be warned. And I will warn you ahead of time before those images drop as to what those are going to look like. So with all of that being said, let's dive right into it. Basically, what I wanted to say about this film, and I already did a film review for it many months ago when it first dropped, and I enjoyed it. It was a very enthusiastic film review. What I wanted to say about this movie was that I felt like it was the perfect metaphor for dealing with inner darkness or inner demons. Of course, in this case, they kind of took the inner demons thing to a whole new literal level. Although he wasn't a demon, Gabriel, the main bad guy, monster, whatever you want to call him. He was a malignant tumor, basically, that was sentient and was basically a twin as an embryo in the womb, a twin that wasn't fully reabsorbed by the other twin. So technically one person was born, which was the main character, the protagonist, the woman, Maddie. But Gabriel remained a part of her in the back of her mind, literally, like her head splits open, and that's where his nasty ass face appears. And whenever he took over her body in the movie, and we don't know about this till the end of the film, whenever he takes control of their body, or mostly her body, she goes into this physical coma-like state where she's like this. But mentally, she's in a mental prison where she thinks she's going about her day-to-day life, but she has no idea Gabriel is taking over her body. And then he throws on a backwards trench coat, he wears leather gloves, and then it basically looks like she is running backwards, but it's really him running forwards and moving forwards. It's kind of hard to explain, but if you saw it in the film, you know what I'm talking about. Okay, so I felt like the movie was really entertaining, and what I liked about it was that they characterized someone's inner turmoil. In this case, this woman had a difficult childhood, not knowing who her real mother was, having this imaginary friend Gabriel, who's really technically her brother, but attached to the back of her head. And then also dealing with an abusive husband, having 3 miscarriages. And Gabriel ultimately is defeated. They don't kill him because you can't really kill him without killing Maddie, the main character. So she uses his trick on him and puts him in a mental prison while she reassumes control of her body. And she puts him literally behind bars in their mind, and he's stuck behind bars vowing to get out one of these days, but she says, yeah, but next time I'll be ready. So that's how they defeat him, and that's how the movie ends, on a relatively happy note. I felt like Gabriel was a metaphor for whatever inner turmoil anybody could be dealing with or facing. Unresolved trauma, PTSD, could be the same thing. Addiction, deep emotional issues, deep psychological scarring, like unresolved parental issues, unresolved relationship issues of any kind, not just parental or spousal, but maybe any kind of relationship. Did I say addiction? I said addiction. Basically, anything that can pester and bother the human psyche and make us feel like shit on a regular basis, or just make us flat out miserable. Depression, dark thoughts, suicidal thoughts, anything like that. That is what I felt like Gabriel represented. Whatever issue or problem somebody might be experiencing or having in their mind or in their inner thoughts, that's what Gabriel was the embodiment to me. To me personally, Gabriel perfectly embodied and represented how I view my autism. I am autistic. I was diagnosed when I was 4 years old. It's been referred to as autism, Asperger's syndrome. I've been called being on the spectrum. I believe I'm considered high functioning because I come off as quite normal. And most people are pretty shocked when I tell them I'm autistic, because they usually say, I never would have known unless you have told me. You seem so normal. I'm like, thank you. I don't think they mean it as an insult, but they're just surprised when I tell them because I come off so normal. But believe me, I have had more than my fair share of struggles in my life because of my autism. And unfortunately, it's been a really big issue and a problem for me lately. And it's really been an enormous pain in my ass my entire life, but it's really reared its ugly head recently. Well, really since the beginning of 2022. It's like this has been a very difficult year for me for a number of personal reasons, which I won't get into here. But for me, Malignant struck a chord with me because Gabriel's physical appearance and being revealed as the parasitic monster literally in the back of Maddie's mind and head, I'm like, yes, that's it. That is what having autism feels and looks like to me. I should also make it very clear that I'm not speaking on behalf of all autistic people here or anybody who has a developmental disability. I can't speak for all of them. I am only speaking for me. Other people may process and handle having autism and being on the spectrum differently, or perhaps better than I do. But for me personally, because I've always regarded it as such a cancer or a malignant tumor, much like Gabriel is in the movie Malignant, for me, that's why this movie struck a chord, because as soon as Gabriel's true form was revealed and where he was revealed in the back of the girl's head and mind, I was like, yes, that's exactly how it feels, and that's how I view and perceive my autism to be, this hideous parasitic monster that makes me miserable and tells me things that aren't true and just makes my life hell for me. And it really struck a chord with me. And that's why this movie, really hit me as hard as it did. A, it's an entertaining, exciting horror movie. B, I was like, wow, perfect visual representation of what having autism, to me at least, feels and looks like. I was like, wow. I don't know if that was James Wan or the writer's intent, but damn, that's how I translated it. So I really wanted to share with you guys. Some of you know me in real life, some of you don't, but I am autistic. I may not look it, but believe me, I have my problems and my struggles. Then again, everybody does, but it can be especially difficult for someone on the spectrum like I am. So I'm about to show you guys some images, the stills from the movie, so you can see what I'm talking about when I was referring to Gabriel's true form or real form when it's revealed in the film there. So I will see you back here in just a few minutes. So this is the first image in the film where it's revealed what and where Gabriel is. He's revealed to be this parasitic monster with a hideous face and a skeletal appearance and creepy chicken tiny arms coming out of the back of this poor girl. And this is our protagonist, our main character, Maddie. And this is her as a young girl when they were being treated in a hospital for having Gabriel basically attached to her back and her neck and her head there. And when I first saw this, I'm like, oh my God, he's a part of her. What a twist. So I thought it was an entertaining and interesting twist. twist. And the people who discover this in the film, Maddie doesn't even know about this, but her adoptive sister and adoptive mother discover this while trying to help her, and it absolutely shocks them. And it's a really gnarly, memorable moment in the film, too. And for me, as soon as I saw this, I'm like, that's it. That's exactly how I feel about my autism. A nasty, parasitic monster of the back of my mind and head that won't leave me alone. That's a part of me forever, and I can't kill it and I can't get rid of it, and I have to learn to live with it somehow. And to this day, as long as I've been alive, I still struggle to accept, to learn, deal, and live with it. And so when this reveal was made during the movie Malignant, I was like, wow, that's it. That beautifully, well, not beautifully, hideously captures what I feel like anybody's burden or weighing on their mind would look like. But for me, that's what autism looked like. And here's another image of Gabriel in the film, and this is him in his more like less grotesque appearance. He's got the backwards trench coat on. That's his face coming out of the back of Maddie's head. That's obviously her hair that he's pushed aside so he can see. And he talks like this. And for some reason, his voice can only come through electronic devices like a cell phone or a radio or speakers or something like that. So he can't actually speak through his mouth, but he can roar and make nasty noises and be a hideous, scary monster. But for me, as cool as he looks in this image here, this is how he looks throughout a majority of the film. We only see him like that in the earlier previous image and only parts of the movie, but that was the version of Gabriel that really made me say and feel like, yes, that is what autism feels and looks like to me, because it has been such an enormous pain in my ass and a burden my whole life. And even though I don't have it nearly as bad as some other autistic people I have known throughout my life who are way, way more autistic than I am, I may not have it as bad as they do, but there have been some days where I really wished that I didn't have it at all, and I wish I could kill it somehow. So there you have it. Those were the official images. That's how Gabriel appears in the movie Malignant, both in his childlike form when he's revealed to be on the back of Maddie's head in that grotesque skeletal appearance, and then later as an adult wearing the backwards trench coat and his bloody gnarly face that comes from the back of Maddie's head there, with her hair, of course, on either side. So that's how he appears in the film, and he sounds scary and gnarly as hell. But one of the reasons why I view autism in such a not necessarily, well, yeah, I guess you could argue a negative light, is because I'm sure some people will argue that it's not a cancerous tumor or a monster to be killed or dealt with. But to me it is, because I have struggled so much with so many things throughout my life, and I continue to struggle with a lot of those things to this day, to the date, that when people tell me, people who I care about and love very much, people who mean well and have my best interests at heart, tell me that I need to learn to live with it or accept it, I can't bring myself to agree with them, because I'm like, I don't want to learn how to live with it. I want to kill it. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it so fucking much. I hate being autistic. I hate feeling and being this way. It's brought me a lot of pain throughout my life, and I don't think it's responsible for all of my pain, but I'm sure having autism hasn't helped in those other painful moments I've endured, like everybody endures throughout their life. But the thing with autism, for me at least, is that when I see people succeeding and doing well at something that I struggle with immensely so much, and I'm like, why is it so easy for them and yet so difficult for me? And I realize physical appearances and things on the surface aren't always as they appear to be. I'm fully aware of that. I'm just saying this is how I perceive it. From my eyes, from my lens, I'm like, why is it so much easier, or why does it come so easy to everyone else except me? And it's because I'm autistic. I don't have the wiring, or whatever you want to call it, in my brain, which makes whatever it is the person is doing or saying or doing with their lives or whatever that make me somewhat envious and make me say, boy, I wish I could do that, or I wish I could do that just as easily as they do, but I can't because I've got this goddamn parasitic monster in the back of my head that won't let me. So, and I might get some flack for this from the disabled community about, trying to make anybody, I'm not trying to make anybody look like a monster or nothing. I'm just saying I perceive and view my particular autistic diagnosis that way. I'm not saying autism is a monster. I know it's difficult to live with. Believe me, I know. But I'm not trying to demonize anybody. I'm just trying to demonize my own diagnosis and the way that I feel about it, because it is so incredibly goddamn hard some days. I don't know how many times this weekend I've almost broken down in tears because I am just so angry and frustrated and miserable. And a good chunk of those feelings are due thanks to the autism, but no need to get into any of that. The point is that Malignant is a great horror movie, and whether you want to overanalyze and really read into it like I just did, you don't have to. You can just watch it and be entertained by it. If you enjoy nasty, gory horror movies, it's right up your alley. But for me, it was so much more than that. I'm like, wow, this really struck a chord with me. This is how it feels. This is what autism feels and looks like to me. That, Gabriel, that is autism to me. Hopefully I'll learn to live with that someday, somehow. I don't know. I mean, I'm seeing professionals. I'm got a hell of a support network. Love you all. You all know who you are, to friends and family. But it's not easy. But then again, nothing ever is. So, all right, everyone, thank you for joining me. I hope you found this video somewhat informative, maybe a little entertaining, but mostly informative and perhaps enlightening. Maybe to not necessarily help you understand me better, but just people like me, or maybe it didn't, I don't know. But I really wanted to do this, and I thank you for listening and joining me today. So have a great rest of your weekend. Malignant is currently streaming on HBO Max. Have an awesome rest of your day. And of course, until next time, may the force be with you.